with the fabulous Toni Kaufman. Toni and I go way, way back. She's currently, you're in Texas, right?
I'm in Houston, yeah.
Texas, yep, Houston. And I'm in Orlando, Florida right now. And so I'm going to give you a little bit of background on Toni, give you the highlights, and then we'll dive into the topic of how to find celebrity within you, how to create celebrity. So Toni is an international #1 Amazon bestseller author. Act 2, Your Show Must Go On. She's the host of the World Class Mentors, Muscle Memory Millionaire, and Game Changers 4. CEO of KDDM Inc. and founder of City Speaks. It's her nonprofit group for people who want to speak all across the country, and she might have time to tell us a little bit more. She appointed former President George Bush's personal computer trainer. So that reminds me, I might need your help on something later. She has a whole list of accolades and credentials from her production career, her TV producing career, and producing things like the Latin Grammys, etc. And she is, if you can believe it, a grandmother of 11, a mom of 7, and has created a supportive and loving family regardless of race, divorce, and transgender transition. So, director of the Public Speakers Association, bilingual Hispanic family in Texas since the 1600s. Holy crap, that's a long time. And based on Texas Superfund site, 40 acres of DDT.
That's right.
Really? Like
it was fun.
She's a 50-mile swimmer, designed and managed events for 7 Texas spring breaks for Anheuser-Busch. Basically, there's not much that the woman has done, the short version is. And what I also want to tell you is Toni is one of the most resilient, generous people I know. She bends over backwards to give you the shirt off her back, and then some. So I'm so pleased to have you here, Toni. Welcome, 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 and thank you for coming back. We did an interview quite a while ago, but was on a different topic, and I'm so happy to see you again. So, hi.
How are you? Sorry about all of that blob of get to know me stuff.
Well, that's all good. And so, is there anything? I mean, I know there's a lot in there that we kind of over, but what's one thing you'd like us to know about you that isn't in your bio? So tell us the juicy, secrets. I always want, the stuff that's not public. So tell us something we would not guess about you.
Wow. Well, that's there's plenty there, and let me. I need to categorize. When I stepped in 33 years ago to our marriage, we had 3 of his, 2 of mine, and now we have 2 of ours, and that's what created the Brady Bunch for us, and that's why we have 7 kids. I didn't have them all personally. I had wonderful help from his ex-wife as well. So,
it's good when you can farm some of that out, yeah. But nonetheless, you've raised 7 kids, and that's a lot.
We have raised 7 wonderful human beings, and I mean they're. One of them is true north, the other one is the dancer, and one is the actor, and one is the geek, and one is the athlete. Yeah. So we've kind of been through them all. And the one thing that you asked me, what don't you know? I think the one thing that I do appreciate from both marriages and both sets of children is that they always keep you young. The second batch started after the age of 30, 36. And so I thought, oh my God, why am I doing this again? And then to tell you the truth, now my youngest is 27. He just got married in September. Wow. And to a wonderful girl. And we've been blessed in so many ways that all I need to say is thank you, God.
Awesome. That's awesome, sweetie. Okay, so tell me what you're passionate about in the world and who do you serve? So give us a little bit of a background on your business.
entrepreneurs, and
Yep.
it's so wonderful that we're able to do this online, and it's so wonderful that we've been doing this online for the past 5 years, and so we're the experts for all the school districts and for all the entrepreneurs, and
Yep.
I just saw a meeting that was transferred from being there tonight to Zoom, and I've got all these people asking what Zoom. So
Exactly.
we're the leaders we're forging a new way. We're the leaders of the new entrepreneurial world now
Yep.
that everybody is at being asked to stay home. And business doesn't have to be down or go down because you're not on a live basis. You're actually doing and fulfilling and working on all of our clients that we love so much
Hmm.
online. Just like I've laughed. It's funny. I've laughed so many times because in my business, I believe I only have one client that's actually in Houston. Everybody else is in Canada or
Yeah.
all over the U.S. A couple of folks in Australia, and it's
Yeah.
like you. I mean, we're forging new roads, especially for women business owners. So when you ask what my passion is truly in applying tech and finding the best tech out there to make us be able to live our lives and work the way we work. Uh, Not necessarily the laptop lifestyle. In my case, it was an iPad for a couple of weeks, and I was ready to shoot myself. But
No
I'm
doubt. No doubt.
I'm a PC bigot, and everything that I know how to do is on PCs. And when I travel with my iPad, I'm like, oh my God, everything's missing. so, so there are
Especially off an
good
iPad.
and bad things about traveling, as
Yep.
you're fully aware of. I mean,
Yep.
yeah, you lead the most interesting life because every time I talk to you, you're somewhere else, and it's just beautiful.
Yeah, well, it has its moments. It has its challenges too. Times like now when it's like, do I beetle my way back to Canada and try and get in before they close the borders, or do I stay here? Or, yeah. So, in case people are, this will be watched quite a while from now. We're right in the middle of the coronavirus challenge or situation, and so part of what Tony's talking about is really taking business online, leading the way in that, and supporting people. But there's a lot of stuff going on right now. There's a lot of fear and doubt and insecurity, and I just really went through the whole kind of decision process this morning of, do I pack everything up, get in my truck, go back a month and a half early, so that I'm in Canada, etc. there, or do I stay here, trust the travel insurance that I have should I need it? So big decisions that lots of people are making about what to do and how to address this and so on. I'll talk a little bit more about at the end of this session, but I don't want to detract from you and what you're doing because you've been online the whole time. So tell me a little bit about what your company does and how you serve people.
So we started a small company called KDDM, which is Kaufman Design Development and Marketing. And it's so funny because the design and development and marketing bit have become so interesting in what we deliver because it has the ability to toggle and be available and that kind of thing. And so depending on the client, I think the overreaching marketing thing that we do is help people create their companies from from your idea, from the concept all the way to a launch. And
Mm,
so we started off a couple of years ago, and we were doing branding and identity, and that worked really well. And then we went more and more. We started leaning more and more into what I love to do, which is video production and producing television shows and producing summits and producing things like these
right.
for our clients. And so I feel myself in 2020 really leaning towards what I can produce for people. And it's what's the old saying in The Godfather? Just when you thought you were out, they
Oh,
pull
yeah.
you back
Oh,
in.
that.
They
Yeah.
pull you back in. So that's how I feel about production. And it's so funny because I did television production since the 70s, And all throughout my life, I've been involved in some kind of production or other. Um, and 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 that's really, when I left HP, which is back in 2015, I think. In 2015, my husband said, as I was trying to figure out what I'm going to do, because I obviously am not the type of person that retires, whatever the hell that means.
Right. Right.
So he says, look back on all your life, and what were you the most happy doing? And quite honestly, it was production of TV shows and commercials and videos and trying to help people. And there's a huge market out there for our entrepreneurs, our speakers, authors, healers, and coaches, and that's my market. That's who I want to serve. That's who we serve, to help
Okay.
them produce things like that. And so
Let's talk
that's
about
that's
that.
kind of what
How does
I've been
that work?
leaning. I'm sorry.
I said, tell us about that. How does that work?
Okay. Oh, did I lose you? Okay, gotta make sure you're still here. I don't see him. I will keep talking. I'm not sure uh, if I lost, an entire one, and I'm working with them to get them from stage one through stage 12, so to speak, if we're going to do it by month. And most speakers, authors, healers, coaches have the need to create videos, to be on TV, to find a way to get massive promotion and massive publicity. But a lot of our fellow entrepreneurs, speakers, authors, healers, coaches don't have these humongous budgets, that are if, for example, if you were ready to find a publicist in LA.
Hmm.
Normally, the least expensive one of my friends that has an agency that does that, she would ask you upfront for a $10,000 retainer, and out of that 10,000, they would post and post and post and post, and within 3 months, you need to put another one down and another one down. And so that could be a $40,000 a year retainer, basically, on publicity and publicity alone. And that means that they're getting you on shows, they're writing press releases, they're making sure it goes into a magazine, they're writing articles or asking you to write articles that they can post in magazines, things like that. But the are celebrities that are our clients are not quite there yet. There's a couple that are, but they're not quite. The majority of them are just really trying to figure out their signature talk, what they're going to do, what they're going to sell, how they're going to sell it. How do I put together an offer? How do I put together a package? Do I look camera ready? What do I need to do to make sure that I look okay? So you don't do what I do with my hair, but but you want to make sure that
Yeah.
or
I was just saying, you try not to be all sweaty like I am all the time. You try not to be.
it's not life. It's
Um,
not life.
Tony, yeah, exactly. Tell us more about that. I think a lot of people think that I don't do celebrity, I don't do media, I don't do TV until they get really a lot bigger. So when is the right people to start thinking about sending out press releases or perhaps having their own TV channel? So when are
Let me
they
give you
ready?
the Let me give you the biggest secret that most people don't understand is that I've sat in a producer seat. I've sat where I had to produce shows. I had to produce guests. I had to bring in clients. I had to bring in the ideas and the concepts for my TV hosts. So every single show that you watch right now has a team of producers who are beating the streets looking for interesting guests. And oh my goodness, if you don't know how to get to them, then that's something I can help you with. If you want to become visible, if you want what I call massive promotion and publicity, then we lay down the year-long plan for you to get started. And by the end, you will already know how to book. You will already know what to say on it. You'll already know your script. You'll already know your signature talk, what you're there to help with, what kind of questions are they going to ask you. If you've got your book, hopefully you've already got your book out. That's a great place to start in getting you seats in front of TV shows and in front of radio shows and in front of podcasts to get the word out, because producers are actively looking for you, and most people don't even know that. And so where do you start? That's something we get involved with. And who writes your press release? That's something we do for you. Where are we going to send it? That's, whether you have your PR news wire or whatever your way of delivering a press release to the media is something we do for you. And so that's kind of what I'd like to focus on in 2020, is to get one group of fabulous people who have a mission, they have a movement, they know what they're trying to get done, and they want to serve others. And to tell you the truth, I have yet to meet one entrepreneur out there that doesn't want to help others.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Now, so give us some practical tips that people can do for themselves right now. What can they do to take advantage? For instance, right now we're in a very challenging time. And one of the things that I contend is that adversity creates opportunity. And opportunities are always there, but even more so, I think, when there's adversity. So there's lots of people who have expertise in a variety of fields that could be commenting in the news, in the media. What kinds of things, give us some ideas and examples of how people right now could go about getting media, even if they're just a solopreneur or an expert who speaks on what they know about, etc. What kinds of things could they be doing right now?
I've seen a call for guests about a mile long right now on TV shows. They're looking for nurses. They're looking for hospice workers. They're looking for at-home caregivers. They're
Mm-hmm.
looking for people who can show you how to wash hands properly, for God's sake.
Yeah, yeah.
And my sister was a med. She had she was a technician, micro technician. And so she taught me how to wash hands, and it was like 20 seconds here, and do this, and do this, and under the nails, and don't touch anything, and do your elbow, and the whole routine of how to properly wash your hands. And then she would do this, and she'd walk around the lab like this, and we weren't allowed to touch anything in the lab. And so so I had that guidance from my big sister. But a lot of folks don't understand. And I was watching this. You're gonna think I'm crazy, but 2 weeks ago we were at Disneyland.
Yeah.
And we were in line, and I was keeping my distance, the whole bit. But these little girls, there was 3 little girls in front of us, and my God, they were licking the handrail. I mean, literally. And I was like, okay, so I didn't want to be one of those people, but I went to the mom and I said, I'm sorry to tell you this, but I just saw her lick that rail. Would you make sure they don't do that anymore? I said, I'm just scared to death. And I felt so bad because her response was, well, I have the stuff for the hands. I said, yeah, but you need it on her tongue.
Yeah, exactly. Pour it down her throat. It's amazing what people don't quite get yet, but okay. And so, for example, I have clients. I was talking to a client of mine, or a prospective client of mine, actually this morning, who's a realtor who is very concerned and fearful, and thinks that the market's all going to hell in a handbasket, and she doesn't have any money because she's going to go destitute because the housing market's going to slow down and stop and so on. And I said to her, just like everyone else, okay, where is the opportunity in this? What's shifted? And one of the things that you could do is, in down markets, that's when investors come in and scoop up all the deals. So if you can find investors who want to get those great deals and people who have to sell their house right now, you can put those together. So there is tons of opportunity, especially if you go where the other people are not. So in the media, she could do a press release about opportunities in real estate and get into some media, or get on podcasts, or get on various things. to talk about the opportunities in a down economy, in a stalled real estate market, which would then attract real estate investors to her and so on. So that's like one idea of an example of something where even if it's not health related, you could potentially get media attention. And yes, a lot of the cycles right now are currently consumed with the coronavirus situation, but the media still needs to fill all the newspapers and all of the
And
cycles.
you know what comes to mind is
Yeah,
what a great time to grab your phone and walk through a house and do a virtual tour,
yeah,
on your Facebook of your properties.
yeah,
So,
absolutely.
what a great time to be innovative, to be thinking in that terms, to have one of our forbidden fruits is a landing page that takes people to walk through your property or your houses, or
Yeah,
you yourself saying, if you want to call me, I will be in the house and I'll show you, and have a private Zoom with while showing the property if they don't want to come
exactly.
to the property. And
Exactly.
so, what a great open house idea.
Opportunity, yeah.
Yeah.
And if I was that realtor, I'd be really smart and send some cookies over to the people doing the walkthrough to be delivered at the same time as they're going to be doing the walkthrough, so that they get the multi-featured, because deliveries are still happening.
Yeah.
I was talking to a lady. We're getting a little off track, but I do want to bring it back to opportunities to kind of publicize yourself. But I was talking to a lady today on a community call, who's a Mary Kay professional, and so she's so used to doing home parties. So she's like, "Oh, our business is, going to be really challenging." And I said, "Oh, no, 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 they're not. You've got a whole bunch of people shut in and bored for 2 weeks. Many of them, in many situations, we're being told to kind of socially distance for 2 weeks, and so virtual spa day.
Hmm.
Tell them to pull up a glass of wine, join you on Zoom,
Yes.
have someone in your house demo your products on them, and have a virtual spa day with the ladies where they have a distraction from being locked up for a week or 2 weeks, and have some self-pampering time, and can then go online and buy your products. So we just have to get innovative about that. But let me bring it back to and getting innovative about how we bring our expertise to becoming a celebrity. Because one of the big challenges I think that a lot of people have, I know even myself sometimes, even though I've done this for a living, is what do I have that's special or unique? A lot of entrepreneurs do what a lot of other entrepreneurs do. In fact, all of them do something that other entrepreneurs do. And so if they're a coach or whatever they are really not that differentiated. So many of them will think, well, I'm nothing newsworthy or noteworthy. How do I become, like, why would I have a TV channel? Or how would I, have a podcast? So what would you say to someone who asked that question?
It's never been easier to have your own radio show, podcast, or TV show. I mean, I participate with a group of entrepreneurs that have that what they're calling the next Netflix for business. It's not a pay-per-view, but an on-demand viewer of whatever channels you've got out there. And it's so funny because every speaker, every coach, every consultant, every healer can have their own channel for as little as $97 a month. It's such a perfect time.
So I get that, Toni, and I bet you that there's people thinking, because I've had this thought myself, but then there's so much content out there. How do people find you? And why would they pick you over the bazillion other options? So, I help entrepreneurs grow their business, along with about 10 billion other people who do that. So, how would I differentiate myself in that
It's
very noisy information marketplace?
KLT, Jannette, the simple magic of KLT. To know you is to like you, is to trust you.
Okay.
Therefore, I buy from you. And I mean, just as it is here, if someone is seriously interested in using their phone, using a content manager, so to speak, for creating something, for example, this little interview right here, once we finish it, can be placed up on your TV channel.
Mm-hmm.
And then you promote your TV channel as well as us. I do get that question a lot though. Okay, so if I want to have a channel, what do I put on it? And that's where my theme from summit to TV in 90 days comes from. If you really don't know what you're going to talk about or what you want to start with, but you do want to start with, showing people your wonderfulness and your what makes you different and your creativity, then let's create an online summit
Mm-hmm.
that in 3 days you will have 4 months worth of content. So and what I mean is 3 days, 5 guests per day. That's a total of 15 interviews in 3 days that
Mm-hmm.
we can work on for you. Plus, you do your own, which is the introduction to your summit, and then every Monday we drop, one of these interviews, which becomes an episode for 4 months. In 3 days, you could have four months worth of TV content that you can show everywhere on YouTube, on Spreaker, on SoundCloud. I mean, wherever you want to put it. That would be the biggest bang for the buck, so to speak, is to start something like that there. And we'd love to help talk to you if that's something that you're interested in.
Well, and what I want to encourage people who are listening to this, sometimes one of the things that stops us is we don't have very big lists, or you might not have, a very big list when you're starting out. And so you might not think of something like a summit or as being, you might think of that as something that's a little, out of reach.
Mm-hmm.
The advantage to doing a summit is that those 14 other speakers or 15 other speakers that you're interviewing are now driving traffic from their lists
Exactly.
to the summit, to the event. So all of that traffic comes together onto your list, which grows your list, which is very helpful as well.
Yeah.
Plus, you have that content to use there. You also have that content that you could repurpose and put into a membership site. You have those connections now with those other speakers. So they may have you on their summit or they may have you on their podcast, etc. So you have that. And you don't necessarily have to start with people who are famous. You can start with people who are just starting out like you.
Exactly.
And you may not have a lot of people on your summit, but you're going to have people there, and it's a good place to start. So, Toni, give us one more tip in terms of people who really want to find their celebrity within. So one of the things that they might be struggling with is, how do I know what my kind of secret sauce is, or how to bring forward my celebrity within?
I call that my superpower, Jannette.
Okay.
I put on my director's goggles,
Yep.
my producer director's goggles, and by the way, I mean this comes from years of creating TV shows and casting TV shows. I mean, whether we were doing the Spanish version of American Idol or Family Feud or America's Top Model, and I do mean the Spanish, because every show that Fremantle makes is also created in Fremantle Media Latin America. They're the creators of all of these wonderful shows, and we did the casting for that. So the ability to talk to someone and say, oh my gosh, you're perfect for this. This is something, and normally people kind of know where they want to land. They just don't know how to get there. So what I'd like to give every single person who is listening to you, if you want to have that little one-on-one, I'd like to extend what I gave away at Christmas to your viewers, and that was a free virtual makeover. Are you camera ready?
Okay.
So all they've got to do, if it's okay with you, Judith, I'll give them the easy text.
Yep, absolutely. And I'll type it in here as well. So
All right,
how do
just go to your phone and text to this number 474747.
Okay.
Text the word Toni, Toni.
Oops, 474747. Oops.
Text the word Toni, and that's going to take you straight to my calendar page, and you get yourself a free 30-minute meet and greet. And I'm going to look at your makeup. And by the way, when you set up the meeting, I want you to have a table full of all your makeup in front of you,
Okay.
whether it's Mary Kay or not.
Okay. And then you'll actually walk them through how to look good for the camera?
You bet.
Awesome. That's a
Yeah.
really wonderful and generous tip or offer, Toni. I appreciate that. And even if you're thinking of just doing summit interviews, this kind of thing, this would be really helpful for getting camera ready. And, you know, Toni will tell you things like have better lighting than I currently have. Make sure you're not wearing anything too distracting, etc. And try not to have fans sticking out of your head like I currently have. Try not to do that. So I can be your before, Toni, and then we could do an after. All right. So how else can people find you? Tell me how else they can find more about KDDM and more about the TV channel information that you were talking about.
That would be very, very simple. The program that we have that basically walks you from summit to TV in 90 days. If you do want to, and I did want to bring up that part of the reason that it's so easy for us to produce this is because
Mm-hmm.
over the past year, we've probably hosted over 250 speakers, which are
Okay.
on my list of people who want to be booked on other shows. So
Right.
we come in immediately with a list of 200 speakers that are anxious to serve your community and share their list with you. And so
Okay.
that's really handy. So if you don't do the easy text, which is the 474747, type the word Toni, then just get a hold of me at Toni, Toni, at K like in kilo, D like in David, D like in David, M like in Mary, INC.com.
Okay.
I'm happy to hear from you.
Awesome, and I do recommend that you, if you're thinking about finding someone to work with in getting into any of this, I would highly recommend Toni. She has a heart of gold, tons of integrity, spends way too much time giving you extras, and will bend over backwards to make sure that you're taken care of. So if you do want information about that TV channel that you can get on for $97 a month, and I know several people who have done that and are doing that. It's kind of at the somewhat leading edge of that industry of personal TV channels, but you get all sorts of distribution all over the place. It's another exposure medium, so you can be still on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram TV, and this is another exposure medium that, for not much money, gets you additional people coming into your list, your
Community.
world,
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
your world. And if you're looking for ways to generate content for that, the summit's one way. I guarantee many of you have lots more content than you think you do. You can probably take things that you've delivered already, have them transcribed on something like temi.com, and take many of the things that you have done and repurpose them. So have a consultation with Toni to find out what you've got, what you might need. To get that Are You Media Ready consult is very valuable as well. And just find out a little more about what's the state of the technology, the personal TV channels, and what's going on there as a potential way to get out and about and be seen.
Yeah.
Oh,
Every single one of us has an inner celebrity. Every single one of us.
Oh, I love that.
I'd love to help you find yours.
Awesome. And so what I would also like to say is, and let our members know in particular, this Thursday, watch on the Bodacity page and in Bodacity's Action Heroes, I'm going to do a webinar for our people on how to pivot into profit. I know there's many of you who are worried right now about how do I do things when the market's all stalled and we're all staying at home and everybody's scared. So we're going to talk about how to literally pivot your business as needed, but more so how to get your mind straight so that you're not coming from fear and scarcity, but actually productively seizing the opportunities and having fun with being of service in different ways, perhaps, or just thinking differently and expanding your perspective on what's possible. So part of what I would really encourage you to do is don't think small at a time like this, think bigger. And perhaps one of those bigger thoughts is it's time to out my inner celebrity. If that's the case, if that's the case, Toni, thank you for being here, my friend. I appreciate your time, and we'll see you soon. Mwah!
Bye.
Bye.
And by the way, if I had a vote, I'd go back to Canada for that health care.
I know. I know.